ready to ditch that mental translator and unlock, like, true fluency. Today, we're diving deep into how to actually think in English.
Yeah.
No more translating every thought. We're talking about rewiring your brain to use English naturally.
Yeah.
And we've got the perfect guides for this language learning experts, Emma and Liam.
Okay.
Whose podcast conversation gave us a mountain of practical advice to sift through.
What's fascinating about their approach is they emphasize starting small, almost deceptively so.
Okay.
It's not about suddenly narrating your life like a Shakespearean play.
Right.
Instead, imagine this.
Okay.
You wake up and instead of thinking bed window light in your native language, you just do it in English.
Okay.
3 simple words, but that's how you prime the pump.
Okay, I'm liking this.
Yeah.
So even during those groggy morning moments, we can make progress.
Absolutely.
It's not about complex sentences right off the bat.
Exactly.
Yeah, the end.
Liam actually suggests incorporating simple phrases throughout your morning routine. Things like good morning or even just it's cold today. It's about making English an automatic part of your everyday life even before the caffeine kicks in.
So rather than translating everything,
Yeah.
we're building those direct pathways in our brains.
Okay. Liam calls this mental labeling,
Okay.
associating objects directly with their English names. Think about it. When you were a kid, you didn't learn by translating.
Right.
You pointed at a dog and someone said dog.
Right.
Building that same type of direct association is key here.
This is making me rethink how I approach learning new words.
Yeah.
So it's not just about memorizing vocabulary lists.
Right.
It's about embedding them in our daily lives.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And studies actually show that even silent internal rehearsal activates language centers in your brain, preparing you for real-world speaking.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like our brains don't necessarily distinguish between thinking and speaking when it comes to language learning.
That's right.
Okay.
And both Emma and Liam highlight the power of what they call the inner monologue.
Okay.
Essentially talking to yourself in English, but in your head.
So it's not just about labeling objects.
No.
We can actually have whole conversations with ourselves.
Precisely.
Wow.
Imagine you're planning your day, ordering food in your head, or even asking for directions. All in English. It's like a mental rehearsal for real-life situations.
That's such a cool concept.
Yeah.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
It can feel a little silly talking to yourself in your head.
I get it.
Yeah.
But remember, this is your personal English playground.
Right.
Nobody else has to know. And it's incredibly effective for building fluency and confidence.
Okay, so we've got mental labeling and inner monologues. But Liam takes it even further, right?
He does.
He suggests using English to actually problem solve.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a real challenge.
It is.
Yeah.
He's throwing down the gauntlet for those who are ready to really push their limits. Try organizing an event, planning a trip, or even something as simple as writing your to-do list.
Right.
But do it all by thinking through the process in English.
So we're talking about forcing our brains to operate entirely in English mode.
Exactly. It's a powerful way to test your fluency and see how far you've come.
Right.
But even if you're not ready for that level yet, there are plenty of other ways to immerse yourself in English.
I'm all about immersion.
Right.
Both Emma and Liam are big proponents of surrounding yourself in as much English as possible.
Yeah.
Books, music, movies, you name it.
Right.
But Emma takes it a step further.
She does.
With a surprisingly simple technique.
What's that?
Sticky notes.
Sticky notes.
Okay, now I'm intrigued.
So it's all about creating visual cues throughout your day. Write common phrases on sticky notes and place them strategically around your home.
Okay.
It could be a note on the mirror that says, "How was your day?"
Right.
Or one on the fridge asking, "What are you having for dinner?"
So it's a gentle reminder to engage with English.
Exactly.
Even during those mundane daily tasks. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like passive learning in action.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's a great example of what we call passive learning.
Yeah.
Absorbing language even when you're not actively studying.
Speaking of active learning, both Emma and Liam recommend keeping a journal, but with a twist.
Right. It's not your typical Dear Diary situation.
Okay.
This is an English-only journal where you write down your thoughts, feelings, or even just summaries of your day, all in English.
So we're processing the day's events,
Yeah.
practicing writing skills,
Right.
and solidifying new vocabulary all at once.
Yeah.
That's a triple win.
It is.
Okay.
And you don't have to write a novel every day.
Right?
Even a few sentences can make a difference.
This is all reminding me that we have so many opportunities to incorporate English into our lives.
Yeah.
Beyond just textbook study.
Right.
What about hobbies in social media?
Liam is all about bringing English into your passions. If you're a sports fan,
Yeah.
describe a game in English in your mind.
Okay.
If you love cooking,
Yeah.
think about recipes and ingredients in English.
So we're making language learning enjoyable
Absolutely.
by connecting it to things we already love.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to stay motivated.
Social media is another great avenue, right?
Yeah.
Liam suggests commenting on posts, writing captions,
Yeah.
basically using English in those online interactions.
It's a fantastic way to practice in a real-world context and get exposed to authentic language.
Yeah.
Plus, you might even connect with other English speakers online.
Okay, all of this sounds amazing, but I have to be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes the fear of making mistakes holds me back. What do Emma and Liam say about that?
Both of them are very clear.
Okay.
Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. The stakes are inevitable, and actually they're a sign that you're learning and pushing yourself.
So we shouldn't be afraid to stumble, to forget words, to even switch back to our native language sometimes.
Exactly. It's all part of the process.
Yeah.
What matters is that we keep practicing
Right.
and celebrate our progress along the way.
This is such a refreshing perspective.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the journey,
Right.
not just focusing on the destination.
Exactly.
But with so many great techniques,
Yeah.
it can be hard to know where to start. Any advice?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Liam suggests a technique that sounds simple,
Okay.
but could be incredibly effective, limiting your use of your native language.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like actually trying to avoid using my native language altogether?
It's a bold move,
Yeah.
but hear me out.
Okay.
You could try setting aside certain times of day or specific activities where you only allow yourself to think in English.
Wow. That's like a mental workout for our English skills.
Yeah.
It sounds intense.
It can be,
Yeah.
but think about the potential for growth. If you're constantly switching back and forth between languages,
Right.
you're not giving your brain the opportunity to fully immerse itself in English.
Okay, I'm starting to see the logic here. It's like creating a mini English-speaking world within our own minds.
Exactly.
But realistically, is it even possible to completely eliminate your native language?
It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
And it might not be realistic for everyone.
Right.
But even setting aside a few minutes each day for English-only thinking can make a difference.
This is all making me realize that thinking in English is more than just a language learning technique.
Yeah,
It's a mindset shift.
exactly.
Okay.
It's about training your brain to see the world through an English-speaking lens. And that can have a profound impact on your fluency and confidence.
It's giving me so much to think about
Yeah.
in English, of course.
Of course.
But before we get too carried away,
Okay.
we've still got plenty more to uncover from Emma and Liam's conversation.
Yes, we've only just scratched the surface.
Okay.
They've got a whole arsenal of techniques to help you integrate English into your daily life and make it a natural part of who you are.
So stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into the world of thinking in English. We've been talking about some pretty intense techniques
Yeah.
for training our brains to think in English.
Right.
But let's be honest,
Right.
life gets busy.
It does.
And it's easy to slip back into our native language
Yeah,
when we're tired, stressed, or just not paying attention.
for sure.
What do Emma and Liam suggest for staying on track?
They both acknowledge that consistency is one of the biggest hurdles.
Okay.
It's easy to get excited about a new approach,
Yeah.
but the real challenge is weaving it into the fabric of our lives.
So it's not just about trying these techniques once or twice.
No.
It's about making them habits.
Exactly.
But how do we actually do that?
Liam has a really practical suggestion, using reminders throughout the day.
Okay.
Think sticky notes, phone alarms,
Right.
even changing the language settings on your apps. Anything that jolts you back into that English mindset.
I'm really loving the power of sticky notes.
Yeah.
Imagine a note on your bathroom mirror
Yeah.
that says brush your teeth
Right.
in English.
Yeah.
It's a fun little nudge to stay on track.
Exactly.
It's all about creating those cues in your environment.
Right.
And Emma suggests something that might sound familiar,
Uh-huh.
that English-only journal we talked about.
Ah, yes, our daily dose of written reflection.
But how does that help with consistency?
It's about creating a ritual, a dedicated space for English to flow.
Right.
Even 5 minutes before bed, just jotting down thoughts, feelings, anything that comes to mind.
Right.
In English, of course.
So it's not just about improving our writing.
No.
It's about reinforcing that English thinking muscle before we sign off for the day.
Precisely.
And both Emma and Liam emphasize that we shouldn't underestimate the power of making this fun.
Right.
We talked about hobbies before.
Yeah,
But they take it a step further.
they do.
Imagine you're a foodie.
Okay.
Instead of just reading recipes in English,
Right.
try creating one in your head,
Okay.
using only English to describe the steps and ingredients.
It's like leveling up our mental game.
And for those of us who are constantly scrolling through social media,
Right.
Liam has a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Engage with everything in English.
Okay.
Comment, write, captions,
Yeah.
even have full-blown conversations,
Yeah.
all in English.
It's about turning those mindless scrolling moments into opportunities for real-world practice. You're exposed to different styles, slang humor,
Yeah.
all of those nuances that bring the language to life.
This reminds me of something Liam said about describing our surroundings in detail.
Oh, yeah?
Almost like we're giving someone a tour,
Uh-huh.
but just in our heads.
It's a fantastic way to practice vocabulary and fluency in real time.
Okay.
Imagine walking through a park, describing the trees, the people, the sounds,
Yeah.
all those tiny details.
Yeah.
But in English,
Okay.
it's like turning your everyday life into a language immersion experience.
But we're going beyond just labeling objects.
Yes.
We're creating entire scenes in our minds,
Yeah.
using English as the paintbrush.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And if you're feeling brave,
Yeah.
Emma suggests taking it a step further,
Uh-huh.
actually speaking out loud to yourself in English.
Out loud.
Okay, now that sounds a bit terrifying.
I know.
I can barely talk to myself in my native language, let alone English.
I understand the hesitation, but hear me out. It might feel awkward at first,
Well-
but it's incredibly helpful for solidifying pronunciation and getting comfortable with the rhythm of the language.
So we're not just thinking in English.
No.
We're actually training our mouths to produce the sounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can narrate your actions as you're doing them, practice different accents, or even just read something aloud.
Right.
The key is to get those vocal cords working.
I'm starting to see that thinking in English is really just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
We have to find ways to bring it into our physical world too.
Right.
Whether it's through speaking, writing, or even just using our hands to write those sticky notes.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
It's about integrating English into all aspects of our lives. And one way to do that is by connecting with other English speakers.
Right.
Liam is a big advocate for joining online communities where you can practice your writing and speaking skills
Yeah.
in a supportive environment.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. It's like having a built-in accountability system
Yeah.
and a place to get feedback from others who are on the same journey.
Exactly.
And speaking of support,
Right.
both Emma and Liam emphasize the importance of celebrating those wins, no matter how small.
Right.
Did you manage to think in English for 5 minutes straight today? Awesome.
Exactly.
Did you finally remember that tricky vocabulary word? Give yourself a high five.
Celebrate it.
This reminds me of what we talked about earlier. Not letting perfection be the enemy of progress.
Exactly.
It's about embracing the journey, mistakes and all.
Absolutely.
And it's important to remember that progress isn't linear.
Right.
There will be days when it feels effortless to think in English.
Yeah.
And there will be days when it feels like your brain is stuck in first gear. So it's okay to have those off days,
Yes.
to not feel like we're making progress all the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
The key is to be patient with yourself.
Right.
Stay consistent with your practice.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
I like that.
Liam even suggests turning everyday tasks into language learning opportunities.
Okay.
Think about it. Even something as mundane as writing your to-do list in English
Right.
can reinforce those neural pathways.
It's amazing how something so simple can have such a big impact.
Yeah.
It's all about finding those little pockets of time throughout our day
Right.
where we can sneak in some English practice.
And Emma encourages listeners to get creative with their practice.
Okay.
She suggests keeping a notebook handy for jotting down random ideas or even sketching.
Okay.
And then describing those creations in English.
That's cool.
It's a fun way to tap into your creative side
Yeah.
while simultaneously flexing those language muscles.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that language learning doesn't have to be rigid or confined to textbooks.
No.
It can be playful and imaginative too.
Absolutely.
And Liam suggests another playful technique, creating mini role plays in your head throughout the day. Imagine yourself introducing a friend, ordering food at a restaurant, or asking for directions.
Right.
All in English, of course.
It's like a mental rehearsal for real-life interactions.
By playing out these scenarios in our minds, we're not just practicing vocabulary and grammar, but also building confidence and fluency.
Right, that's exactly right.
And speaking of confidence, both Emma and Liam emphasize the importance of actively engaging with English media.
Okay.
Like podcasts or audiobooks.
So it's not just about passively listening.
Right.
We should be actively trying to understand and process what we're hearing.
Exactly.
Try repeating or paraphrasing what you hear.
Okay.
Taking notes on new vocabulary, or even shadowing the speaker to practice your pronunciation.
And for those of us who love movies and TV shows, subtitles can be a game changer, right?
Absolutely.
Subtitles help you connect the spoken word with its written form, which can be incredibly helpful for solidifying new vocabulary and grammar structures.
For sure.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here.
Yeah.
From sticky notes to role-playing, it seems like there's no shortage of ways to train our brains to think in English.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up,
I
want to touch on something that both Emma and Liam emphasized throughout their conversation. The importance of patience and perseverance.
That's such a crucial point.
Thinking in English is a gradual process.
Right.
There's no magic formula or overnight solution.
No.
It takes time, effort, and consistent practice. So there will be setbacks, moments of frustration, and days when we just want to give up and revert back to our native language.
That's completely normal.
Okay.
The key is to remember why you started this journey in the first place.
Right.
What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve by mastering this skill?
And to celebrate every little victory along the way. Whether it's successfully ordering a coffee in English or having a full-blown conversation with a native speaker, every step forward is a reason to be proud.
Absolutely.
And remember, the journey itself can be incredibly rewarding.
Right.
Embrace the challenges, celebrate the small victories, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Have fun.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
Yeah, it had.
I'm feeling inspired and ready to put all these techniques into practice.
That's wonderful to hear.
And remember, we're here to support you every step of the way.
We are.
Now let's dive into some final thoughts.
Okay.
And see what other insights we can glean from Emma and Liam's conversation. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, exploring how to think in English, from simple mental labeling to full-blown internal debates.
I like that.
But now I'm curious about the long game.
Okay.
How do we take these brilliant techniques from Emma and Liam and actually make them stick? It's easy to try something new for a few days, but how do we make it a part of our lives?
That's the real challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym.
Right.
One workout might feel great, but it's the consistent effort over time that really transforms you.
So how do we turn thinking in English
Yeah.
into our mental fitness routine?
I think Emma hit the nail on the head when she talked about personalization.
Okay.
Not every technique is going to work for every person.
Right.
The key is to experiment and discover what resonates with you.
Right.
If journaling feels like a chore, maybe it's not your thing.
Right.
But if you're obsessed with podcasts, that could be your English immersion happy place.
It's like finding our English learning style.
Exactly.
If I hate writing but love music,
Yeah.
maybe I should be focusing on singing along to English songs
Right.
rather than forcing myself to write pages in a journal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about making language learning an extension of who you already are, not some separate, tedious task.
And I love how both Emma and Liam emphasized that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. We don't have to suddenly become English-thinking robots overnight.
Yeah.
Even dedicating 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference.
Think about it.
Okay.
If you commit to just 15 minutes a day of thinking in English using any of the techniques we've discussed, Where do you think you'll be a month from now?
That's a powerful question.
Yeah.
And it suddenly makes this feel a lot less overwhelming.
Yeah.
15 minutes, I could definitely do that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Small, consistent efforts chosen to match what you enjoy. That's the secret sauce.
So to wrap things up for our listener today,
Yeah.
we've unpacked a treasure chest of strategies
We have.
to unlock the power of thinking in English.
That's right.
We've gone from baby steps to some pretty advanced challenges,
We have.
but the core message is clear.
Uh-huh.
Consistency is key,
Yes.
and finding what works for you.
Is the best way to stay motivated.
And I'll add one final thought.
Okay.
Don't get so caught up in the pursuit of perfect fluency that you forget to enjoy the ride.
Right.
Learning a language should be an adventure full of discoveries, surprises, and yes, even a few stumbles along the way.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah,
Embrace the journey, celebrate your progress, and have fun with it.
absolutely.
And who knows, maybe one day soon you'll find yourself thinking in English without even realizing it.
I hope so.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fun.
We'll see you next time.